I would never take a gap year. That's what I said right before I took my gap year. I said, what, go home, fall behind? All my friends will be ahead of me. What kind of guy dates a girl who's a year behind, you know? And what, I'll go home and I'll get used to my dad's gumbo and I won't want to come back. It's a lazy thing to do. It's giving up. It's dropping out. When a normal student thinks of their education, I think they see it like this. 4 steps, 4 years, linear track. And then we think of a gap year, it turns into this. Just desolation and incorrectness, just wrong, scary. But after my gap year, I realized it kind of looked a little bit more like this. And the reason it turns from red to black is because the kind of education I received while I was home was one that had to do with personal growth. And it was an education I'm not sure I would have learned had I not taken the gap year. There's a metaphor I like to use to describe my experience and the choice to go home, and I like to call it the fast track. It's a mentality born in high school where it's proficiency and your worth is your academic achievements. And all you can see ahead of you is the road ahead. I gotta get my GPA right, I gotta do the SAT, ACT, PSAT, PSSAs, and I gotta get my teacher recommendations, and I have to do volunteer work, and I have to do everything and apply for colleges too, and then I get to college. And then my GPA again, and then my test scores, and then internships, and check your resume. And it's just, you're barreling straight forward, and you don't have time to look around because you gotta go forward, you can't slow down. What happened to me was I crashed. It got too much. The anxiety and the stress, I couldn't do my work anymore. And it was embarrassing. I reached out though. I went to teachers who surprisingly had met other students who'd also had trouble. And the suggestion of a gap year came up and I said no. But they said, you know, if you're gonna take, 1 year out of your life to just kind of refocus, see maybe what's going on in your life, isn't it worth it? Especially if you're expecting to live like to 100, that's only 1%. And I was embarrassed though, I was too embarrassed. I said, you know, why isn't anyone else struggling as much as I am? Like, why should I have to go home? Why can't I just work hard and be as good as everyone else? But I realized it was just, this is my personal experience, and if it's what I needed to go home and figure things out. And I needed to put my mental health over my academics. Suddenly, oh wow, didn't mean to go that one. Suddenly I had all this free time, 12 months of it, and I got to explore my hobbies that I had kind of put aside to do classes. And I did charcoal drawings and I wrote comedy, and I took some classes because I was pretty bored actually. And I saw this flyer up on the wall for a women's shelter. They were giving a training session for 3 months to train anyone who was willing to do so to become a counselor for victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And since I literally had nothing else to do, I said, I have nothing to lose to try it. If I don't like it, I don't have to do it. Those 3 months were the 3 best months I'd ever had. And the type of empowerment that I gained from it, not just as a woman, but as an individual, I may not have learned that anywhere else. I was ecstatic to go to class. I was ecstatic to wake up every day wishing that class was that day, but it's the next day, but I could wait, because I watched as women told stories of having been broken and having control taken out of their hands. But then I learned how they took the control back, and I learned how they made their lives into something that they loved and something that they wanted to live, and it inspired me. I said, I don't even like my psych major. I chose it because it sounded smart. That's not a way to live. I chose it because doctor sounds like a really good profession, and it's impressive, and it earns a lot of money, but I didn't really care too much. I asked a few people what they thought about their gap year, including mid-years, people who had taken gap years at all times in their lives, and these are the words they gave me. And you'll notice they're all positive. People think taking time off is a scary thing. They think it's being lazy. They think it's, just giving up and not doing enough with your life. But don't you think if you take some time to refocus, that's extremely productive of you? Rather than just to keep doing something you don't really like, you're not really satisfied with, don't you deserve more than that? So I went back to college, and I realized I wanted to take things from the Women's Center back with me. And something that bothered me about the Women's Center was that no one really knew who they were. And I think, why aren't people donating to the Women's Center? It's so fantastic. And I said, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can help them. Maybe I can market for them and get them noticed. And suddenly, marketing was my calling. It was creative and it was challenging and I could do it. It was something I was good at and I liked and I didn't know that existed before. So I came back to college and I said, I'm going to be a business major. And then I looked at the requirements and I said, oh no, financial accounting, maybe not. But I went for it. And I do suffer through financial accounting, I won't lie. But unlike how I suffer through my psych classes, I have motivation now. I know that the difficult things that I'm learning, I will be able to use in the future. And that gets me through the hour of class. And that gets me up at the beginning of the day because I say, one day I'm going to market for this Women's Center and there's going to be donations and they're never going to have to want anything because they're going to get it. I'm not here to recruit you for gap years. But I'm here to tell you that maybe consider it. Don't throw it off the table immediately. It's not for everyone. I don't think a gap year is for everyone. You may not ever need it. But if it's a gap year or a semester even, if it's right for you, then don't think of it as a wrong choice. Don't think of it as a weakness to take because taking a gap year was one of the best choices in my entire life. Thank you.